Welcome to episode 3 here on Temple of the New Humanity TV. I'm wearing the more balanced. You got the yin-yang thing happening here, the active, receptive thing happening here, and indigo and a mixture of the pranic, communicative, cervical, throat chakra. That's what I was trying to figure out. That's what I was trying to spit out. This is a work in progress, basically. And when I wear this, I feel very at peace. I feel very filled with joy, and it feels right. This episode's going to be a little bit more relaxed, let's just say. So, what I wanted to do was a reading, which I haven't done yet, up to this point. You know, I've done a lot of borderline babble to being quite in touch with the heart. Now, one of these wonderful revelations to Paramahansa Yogananda, my Guruji, who I'm just about to take vows of discipleship to. You know, I've committed to a path of study with him long before this day, but I can honestly say that what's to come, I welcome with open arms, as a guru should. He doesn't expect me to grovel to him, nor does Yeshua, my master teacher Yeshua, Jesus. I've had a lot of things to take care of and get in line. A lot of karma to shed, a lot of karma to dissolve on this journey. You know, I wasn't ready for discipleship a year ago. You know, I've considered myself a follower, not a worshiper. A follower of Yeshua for a while, for, well, most of my life. You know, even though I questioned the whole Roman Catholic structure thing that I grew up with, and really never took it very seriously until I was 15 years old, and my pursuits took me in looking towards the Eastern metaphysical traditions, what was coming out of teachers such as, well, medical doctor and spiritual teacher Dr. Deepak Chopra. That's one of the ways I got going. That and reading works by a fellow named George Anderson, who it had to do with people from the other side, life from the other side. So I've always had this spiritualist interest that never went away, that was instilled in me through my family, and I'm thankful for that, because I really do believe as a shaman in ancestral in the ancestral connection that we have with our loved ones who've crossed over. You know, people use the term ascension. I don't know if we really go up or go down. I don't really believe that we go down any lower than this earth surface. I do believe that we can be in connection to the instinctual, the very dark and instinctual world that does have roots and does have some energetic ties. It does pierce and permeate the ground, going towards the Earth's crust. But you know, aside from the infernos that we create for ourselves in our lower instinctual chakras, I don't, in the astral hells that we create for ourselves, I don't believe there's a place that we go to burn. I don't think I ever really believed it. And, you know, I defended it at one time, blindly and very stupidly and ignorantly. But we all have to forgive ourselves for that at some point in our life. We have to forgive ourselves from the bankrupt system of sin and punishment. We have to realize that all the projections in scriptures and in cultures of the sacrificial demanding, bloodthirsty like God, who wanted not only or animal sacrifices, but human sacrifices. And yes, even the God Yahweh put uh, Abraham to the test with Isaac. Why? I mean, I went through a phase where I was radically dualistically Gnostic, and I believe in universal Gnosticism, universal Gnostic Christianity, as it relates to the Eastern path of towards enlightenment and towards samadhi, towards self-realization, as well. And I honor the similar paths to coming into union or God consciousness or God realization with the divinity of all that is. And honestly, the only hell that we really ever have, a lot of people like to put it, project it all out into the world and say that the world is a terrible place, it's a nightmare. Yes, I do believe that not we, the individual selves, the true self, who we are, the Atman, the God self, the Christ self, the Buddha self, the Krishna self, that person, that divinity, that divine source, that nucleus, that atomic God radiation within us, that had no part in creating what is known as the outward manifest world. But I believe that our egos in the collective form was part of that whole Big Bang and all the separation. And there's, in the cosmology of A Course in Miracles, it explains to you the different levels of separation as they occurred, and that occurred at the primal level, that brought about consciousness outward and began the whole manifestation process or emanation process, if you take a Kabbalistic look at things or the Gnostic look at things, the emanation theory, the emanation cosmology. But, again, we have potential to bring God incarnate. We are God incarnate. God gives his and her life through us. And who we are cannot be tied into all the silly, petty, and very trivial, sentimental, superficial dramas that we involve ourselves in. The Atman, the true self, the self that is so connected to Brahma, that is so connected to Yahweh, to Allah, that is so connected to all the prophets and ascended masters and saints of all religions, saints of all traditions. The mystics. I like to consider myself a contemporary mystic. And here at the Temple of the New Humanity, the gradation of consciousness of where you're at is where you're at. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're down in the pits of the abyss, down here in just the survival, tribal, gotta survive, dog eat dog world, that's where you're at. But it doesn't mean you're done evolving. That's it for you. That you have to go in front of some altar and say some prayer and then be saved or something like that, or be born again, so to speak. We go through a continuous resurrection process in this life of dying, rising, to our ego, to our false self, to the little self, and coming to know that we have to really be in line, as the Zen masters say, with beginner's mind. We have to reconnect with that original essence. Essence is a word. Essence is something that people in the East know far more about than we do. And we have to do something about that. And in the coming episodes, this is only episode 3, we're gonna be broadcasting pretty much daily here on Temple New Humanity TV and giving you lots to think about. I didn't want you to think about hell. I'm sorry that I went there. I'm sorry that I talked about... There isn't that place, okay? There is, you have the spine. you have the chakras, or the interior stars, or what's called in the book of Revelations the seven churches. You know, from the root to the navel, to the solar plexus, to the heart, to the throat, to the Agni chakra, the third eye chakra, the Christ eye, the spiritual eye, and then the crown chakra, and up above our head we have the soul star chakra. Down below our feet in the earth we have the earth star chakra. And I mean, but those seven primary ones, crown to root, that's the seven churches. Those are the seven stars. When we begin to look at things in Scripture, not so literally, but figuratively, metaphorically, mythically, and allegorically, we begin to unveil the mystery of the language of God, which is in symbols, which is found in visions, in mystical experiences, in transcendental realizations, in dreams. You know, I mean, I don't want to get into it, but there's a lot of stuff in the Old Testament that doesn't depict God as being very friendly, very loving. The tyrant image, the totalitarian Hitler-like image of God is not someone I've ever been able to love. But somebody who talks in a language that is very intimate, erotic, that touches upon some of the longings of the human heart that were placed there in the first place by God. We only have a couple minutes left. Jeez, the time goes fast. It goes very fast. Let's stop the babbling. Let's hear from Yogananda. Come to me, O Christ, as the divine shepherd of souls. O Christ, thou rarest flower of hearts, thou didst sail the storm-tossed lake of prejudiced minds, its evil-scented, gloomy thought waves. Lashed thy lily-tender soul, they crucified thee with their evil. Yet didst thou shed on them the aroma of goodness and forgiveness, and help them to be purified by remorse, to make them attractively sweet-scented with thine all-loving soul flower. O thou great lover of all air-torn brothers, an unseen monument of the mightiest miracle of love was established in every heart when the magic of thy voice uttered, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." Thou hast healed the cataract of hatred. We have now grown to see thy truth. Love thine enemies as thyself, for they are thy brothers, though sick and sleeping. Thou hast taught us not to increase their fevered blows of hatred with the bludgeons of revenge. Thine undying sympathy has inspired us to heal our brothers, suffering in their delirium of anger, with the soothing salve of divine forgiveness. Thy crucifixion reminds us of the daily crucifixion of our own fortitude by trials, of our wisdom by ignorance, of our self-control by the scathing touch of temptation, and our love by misunderstanding.